All right, let's start talking about Module 7 questions. Number 1 has two parts, A and B. Which one would you guys like me to go over, part A or part B? Which one do you guys want to see? Which one? B, absolutely. We can do part B. So we need to figure out what x is. We're going to have to add all of the angles together. So we've got angles that are x degrees, 282 degrees, 38 degrees, and then there's two 90-degree angles. You have to include all of the angles in a polynomial. You can't just choose the ones that are labeled with numbers or only the ones that have x's in them. You have to include all of the angles. And then we have to set this equal to whatever the sum of the interior angles would be. And the way you find the sum of the interior angles, you do n minus 2 times 180 degrees, where n is the number of sides of the figure. How many sides does the figure in part B have? 5 sides. So we would have 5 minus 2 times 180 degrees. 5 minus 2 is 3, so I have 3 times 180. And 3 times 180 is 540. So that's what we set this equal to. And now we need to collect our like terms here. So we're going to add all the things that have numbers but no variables. 282, 38, 90, and 90. Could you guys add those up for me real quick? 282, 38, 90, and 90. 500. So x degrees plus 500 degrees equals 540 degrees. And now to finish solving this for x, we're going to subtract 500 from both sides. And that means x degrees is 40 degrees. So x would have to be 40. All right. Number 1 is done in the exact same way, except that figure has a different number of sides. So you would have to put a different number in for n, and you would have to make sure to add all 6 of the angles that are in that figure in order to find that value of x down there in that lower left-hand corner. All right, let's go do number 2. Again, we've got a part A and a part B. Which part would you guys like me to do? Part A or part B? A, sounds good. So a regular hexagon, how many sides does a hexagon have? 6 sides. We want to find the measure of each interior and each exterior angle. So for the interior angles, we start off the same as for the sum. We do n minus 2 times 180. That gives me the sum of all the interior angles. I want just one interior angle, so then we have to divide that by n. So we would do 6 minus 2 times 180 over 6. 6 minus 2 would give me 4. Go ahead and scoot this over just a little bit. So 4 times 180 over 6. What is 4 times 180? And 720 divided by 6 would give us what? 120. So this is the measure of my interior angle, 100 and 20 degrees. To find the exterior angle, it's quite a bit simpler. For the exterior angle, it is always going to be the same number in our numerator. It's always 360 degrees divided by however many sides we have. So in this case, I would have 360 divided by 6. And what is 360 divided by 6? 60.
Just kidding, I'll be at it.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Awesome. See ya. 60 degrees for our exterior angle. If you remember only one of those two, or you only have one of those two written down on your cheat sheet when you go to take the test, the interior and the exterior angles will always add to 180. So the measure of one interior angle and one exterior angle on a regular polygon has to add to 180. So if you can only find one of them, you could subtract it from 180 to find the other one. The measure of the exterior angle is the same exact way that we find the measure of a central angle on a regular polygon. All right, number 3. Given the interior angle of a regular polygon is 160 degrees, find the number of sides. So I'm going to use that same form that we just did up above. My interior angle measurement is equal to n minus 2 times 180 divided by n. Only in this case, we know that this 160 degrees goes in for that interior angle, so I would have 160 degrees equals n minus 2 times 180 over n. And now we need to solve this for n. We need to get rid of the denominator on our fraction, so we're going to multiply by that denominator. We're going to multiply both sides by n. N times 160 would be 160n equals, and now over here in this numerator, we have parentheses. So we're going to distribute this 180 to both pieces so that we can get rid of the parentheses. N times 180 would be 180n. Minus 2 times 180, which is 360. We need to get our n's to the same side, so I'm going to subtract 180n from both sides. 160 minus 180 gives me what? Negative 20, so negative 20n equals negative 360. And then to isolate n, we're going to divide both sides by that coefficient of negative 20. A negative divided by a negative over here, this is going to turn my answer into a positive. What is 360 divided by 20? 18. So that means if we have an interior angle of 160 degrees, then the figure has 18 sides. All right, number 4. Circle all of the statements that are true, correct the ones that are false. Diagonals are only congruent in squares and rectangles. Well, our diagonals are congruent in squares and rectangles, but they are also congruent in isosceles trapezoids. B, trapezoids are sometimes parallelograms. Trapezoids are never parallelograms. Circles are polygons. That is not true. Polygons have to have straight sides, so circles are not polygons. All rectangles are squares. some rectangles are squares. All squares are rectangles because all squares have 4 right angles. They have opposite sides that are congruent and opposite sides that are parallel. Congruent diagonals. So all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles have 4 congruent sides. All rhombi are parallelograms. This one is true. All rhombi are parallelograms. They are a special type of parallelogram. The diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular. That is also true. Diagonals bisect each other in a rectangle. That is true. Diagonals also bisect each other in a rectangle, in a rhombus, and in a parallelogram. All sides are congruent in a square only. All sides are congruent in a square and a rhombus. Last one on this side, and next to last problem that we're going to talk about. Define what it means for a polygon to be regular. What does it mean when we say we have a regular polygon? All sides and angles are congruent. And then let's flip the page and look at the last one that I asked you guys to work on, the last one that's in the packet from Module 7, question number 6. Given trapezoid PQRS is isosceles, find the value of x and the measurement of segment FG. Well, this segment FG right here, this is a mid-segment. So these segments would all be congruent. And the mid-segment is equal to 1/2 the sum of the two bases, base 1 plus base 2. So that mid-segment length that they give us is 5x plus 31. So I would have 5x plus 31 equals 1/2 the sum of base 1 plus base 2. So here's one of my bases. Here's the other base, so 19 plus 29. What is 19 plus 29? 48. So 5x plus 31 equals 1/2 of 48. Now we can multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of the fraction, or I can just type into my calculator, what is 1/2 of 48? 24. So 5x plus 31 equals 24. Wait, I've been writing this down wrong. 5x minus 31. I apologize, I wrote that wrong. It's 5x minus 31. My apologies, guys. So then I would add 31 to both sides. And I get that 5x is equal to 55. And then I need to divide both sides by 5. And that means x is how much? X is 11. So now we're going to find segment FG. Segment FG is 5x minus 31, and we just found out that x is 11, so 5 times 11 minus 31. So I have 55 minus 31. What is 55 minus 31? 24. So FG is 24. Part B, if the measure of angle P is 73 degrees, so this angle right here, and the measure of angle Q is 2y minus 9 degrees, find the value of y and the measurement of angle R. So Q and R are congruent. Measurement of angle P is equal to the measurement of angle S. I can't really reach those very well with everything else I have written on here. But then also my non-base angles, like P and Q here, these are supplementary angles. So the measure of angle P plus the measure of angle Q equals 180. Angle P, of course, is 73 degrees. Angle Q is 2y minus 9. And when we add those together, it adds to 180. I can combine my like terms that don't have a variable with it. 73 minus 9 would be what? 64. So 2y plus 64 equals 180. And then we're going to subtract 64 from both sides. What is 180 minus 64? 116. And then we divide both sides by 2 to isolate the y. What is 116 divided by 2? 58. So y is 58. And angle R is congruent to angle Q. So the measurement of angle R is equal to the measurement of angle Q. So angle R would also be 2y minus 9. And we just figured out that y is 58. So I have 2 times 58 minus 9. 2 times 58 is what again? 116 minus 9 would be what? 107. So angle R is 107 degrees. All right. That gets us through number 6. Tonight, I would like you guys to work on the Module 8 and Module 9 material, which is going to be the full second piece of paper and then the bottom half of this page right here. Please come in tomorrow with the problems there done to the best of your ability, and I will take requests over which problems we're going to go over during class.